Good evening, everyone. A very warm welcome to the second installment of Road to Ignite series. We are absolutely thrilled to have you here with us today for what promises to be an inspiring and insightful event. This series is all about igniting the fire within, fostering innovation, and learning from the experience of some of the most successful individuals in the industry. Without further ado, let's officially commence the event. To start the event, I would like to invite the chairperson of IEEE Young Professionals Sri Lanka, Let's Talk Kapruka, to welcome all of us to this second installment of Road to Ignite. Please welcome Kapruka on stage.
Thank you, Timino. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the second session of Road to Ignite Leadership Talk Series, which is organized by Let's Talk, IEEE Young Professionals Sri Lanka. So we are delighted to continue this series, which is focused on empowering and inspiring the next generation of leaders. So Let's Talk is an initiative by IEEE Young Professionals Sri Lanka, has been organizing transformative sessions since 2017. By connecting industry experts with students and young professionals, we aim to enhance soft skills, provide insight into industry trends, and foster the networking opportunities. So today, we are privileged to have with us Mr. Dulith Herath, a serial entrepreneur, often referred to as the king of e-commerce in Sri Lanka. So he's the founder and chairman of Kapruka.com, which has revolutionized the online shopping landscape in Sri Lanka. And his entrepreneurial ventures extend beyond Kapruka with the founding of Kapruka Global Shop, the Java Launch coffee shops chain, and co-founding the Grasshoppers, which is an initiative logistic enterprise supporting the country's e-commerce ecosystem. So without further ado, we look forward to hearing his leadership journey and gaining valuable insights from his leadership and entrepreneurial experience. So please welcome Mr. Dulith Herath to our session today. Over to you, Tim.
Thank you, guys, for setting this up. So I'll take this is not going to be long. We'll probably talk about maybe 20 minutes. And I plan to talk about how Kapruka was built from nothing to this level today. And then talk about what business models that helped me to do this. And then at the end, a bit about marketing, how you could actually market a brand like this, or brands, not only in Sri Lanka, but globally. And then I think for the people who have joined, what you are interested in is, can you also do it? Can you also maybe start a small business still and grow it to to levels like this? So to start off with, I think the most important characteristic of Kapruka is that Kapruka was started from zero money up to until the company actually went public. I have never walked into a bank and borrowed a single cent. I have not borrowed any money from my parents or relatives or anything like that. It was entirely built from scratch. So with its own profits, which means the business model has worked, which means it has been profitable for a long time, which means that bottom line is that anybody can do it. So it's not like, there were investor money coming in. It's not like, there were any other benefit that I had that any of you do not have today. So it's nothing special except hard work, except understand over and over, understanding a specific niche in a business and working your way up. So please understand that it is possible for any of you guys to start a company even today and within a short time grow it to that level, right? So I remember Kapruka when we started, it was, I would wake up every morning and look for the first order. It took about 3 months to get the very first order. Then after that, I remember getting about maybe 2 orders a week, and then went to about maybe 6 or 7 orders a week. 10 orders a week was a good week. And I had only one employee in Sri Lanka, and I was in the US setting up the website. I was working there at Microsoft. While working only, I started Kapruka in Sri Lanka. So I had only one employee here who did everything from order preparation to get a three-wheel guy to do the delivery to all that. And then he became a second person. I remember very slowly being able to actually buy the first bike on our own for some delivery guys to work on. Then having enough money to buy the first three-wheeler, and then having enough money to actually move from a little, we had a very small space in Colombo, like it's all not even a space, it's like a small room and a balcony. And then from there to move to a very small, little bigger office, then a big deal, having enough money to actually buy the first van or actually leasing it at least. So it grew like that. And what you might wonder, why such like companies like Kapruka is profitable and even able to go to the Colombo Stock Exchange and list it. You know, one of the reasons most companies in Sri Lanka cannot go to the Colombo Stock Exchange is it's a must that you have to be profitable for 2 years in a row. And unless you are profitable 2 years in a row, you cannot list in Sri Lanka. So that's why a lot of companies like startups like anything.lk, you might remember. Then after that, it's Wow, and then My Deal. They have about, I mean, if you look at the companies in e-commerce industry that did not make it today and they're no longer there, is because they were doing the same business model as I did, but they were not profitable. I mean, why? 2 reasons. Customer acquisition cost. That means to acquire a customer, if you have to give discounts, if you have to run 30-20% off on your website to get the customers, then your acquisition cost is that much higher. Then you business most likely becomes unprofitable. And the second point is you're selling products that has very thin margins. Like, why would, do you ever find, do you go to Kapruka to buy a TV? Do you go to Kapruka to buy an iPhone? You don't. And we don't sell them. And we don't promote them. The reason is, you know, Apple would give me like a 3% margin. Okay. That is not enough. If you sell a TV, there might be only 4% margin in that. But I would rather sell a whole 40-footer container of fashion items, a 40-footer container of handbags. Okay. So we were very careful to be selling products that are only in high margin, even though it is not very sexy to be able to, you know, selling cakes and chocolates and flowers, that kind of thing online. As an entrepreneur, I would love to be busy selling electronics and, you know, other regular e-commerce categories, but we stuck to high margin items because we just wanted the business to be profitable, not about, and we were able to, you know, deliver a fresh cake from let's say Colombo Hilton all the way to Jaffna for a delivery fee of, you know, maybe 8,000 rupees. So that's the kind of products that we bought in. I think at the end we can all ask some questions and understand why I did that even a little bit more. But at the bottom line is, it is possible to build a business from nothing in a small country like Sri Lanka and bringing it up to a level where you can even, you know, list it in the stock market. Today we are doing thousands of orders a day. Like the humble beginnings were like, you know, 7 orders a week, and we have managed to build it up to this level. So let me take a few minutes and talk about what is the business model that we used. So simply the e-commerce business model is that, let's say I have this pen, let's say it's a 1,000 rupee pen. Let's say I have to buy this from the manufacturer for 1,000 rupees and we sell it for 1,500 rupees to make 500 rupee profit. But the same pen, let's say you go to Odell, they also buy for 1,000 rupees, but they can't sell it for 1,500 because they have so much of overhead, because it's a brick and mortar shop. You have from the security to the staff in there, the electricity bill, the rent, all that comes, and they will have to sell this pen for about 2,000 rupees to make a margin. But whereas when it comes to online, this pen is just sitting in a warehouse in a dusty box, but online you have a great picture of this and you get it home delivered, and I can sell it for 1,500 rupees, where the brick and mortar shop cannot sell it for 1,500 and make money. So the e-commerce business model is very straightforward, very simple. and very obvious that all future shopping is going to transform to this. We are seeing it more and more, but in Sri Lanka, it's still about only 2%. That means if you take 100 people, only 2 people still go online on a regular basis to do shopping. 98 people still go to the pollers, still go to the supermarket, still go to the fashion malls, etc. Which is a good news, because any of you today on this call, if you start and get into e-commerce, you have a huge growth opportunity. 98 more people. Imagine that 2% grows to 4%. That means the market for e-commerce in Sri Lanka has grown by 100%. So it's very straightforward, this whole e-commerce model. We can talk more about how to set up a simple shop on Facebook or Instagram, Shopify, etc., and very quickly integrate into the other channels and get this going. So I'll talk about 3 business models. One is the e-commerce business model, which I just spoke about now, where you just sell a product which is retailly available, but for a much lower price online, because you don't have the overheads that the retail business has. It's a no-brainer, but actually when you explain it, you understand the power of it, even though how simple it is. Then again, look at a business model like finding a product. It's called the 50% business model, where you actually you're finding a certain range of products and cut the price by 50% to build a market. One good example is McDonald's. So, you know, when McDonald's started, there were no small burger joints or fast food industry did not exist. What they did was they came and said, no table service. You have to come and pick up the order at the counter. We don't have a big menu. We only have about 10 items. But the price of a burger at that time was cut by half. If the price of a burger was $2, they were selling for $1. And, you know, that took off. So if you can do the same thing, that's an interesting business model where you find a product that is out there at an established price range of, let's say, 100 rupees, and you manage to sell it for 50 rupees somehow, immediately you are able to do this. Now, you might wonder, I mean, how am I going to do this? How do you find products that you can discount by 50%? It's not that hard, actually. I'll give you a couple of examples. One example is, I remember looking in Amazon.com and for Sri Lankan tea at one point. Then we saw a tea box, a Dilma tea box that is available at supermarkets in Sri Lanka at Food City for 2,000 rupees. Was sold on Amazon for $52 at that time. This is 3 years back. So I saw, I mean, this is the same product. It's available here for this price, but on Amazon, it's $52. So I checked who are the sellers. There's only a couple of sellers in the US who had, that means somebody has taken a small stock of these products to the US, listed on Amazon and selling. And I saw the reviews, and there were hundreds of reviews. That means there is a potential for this. So we spoke to Dilma, and we managed to buy the first container of Dilma tea and moved it to the United States and listed it on Amazon. We did sell it for $52, but we sold it for $30 with a huge margin for us still, and at a much, so we actually cut the price by half by doing that, by going to the source of the product and managing to do that. Now we are exclusively doing this for Dilma. I mean, we are exclusively doing this for many Sri Lankan brands, where we buy their goods from Sri Lanka, we move it to US, Canada, UK, and these other metro e-commerce markets, and we take a risk and sell those products and become an e-distributor for them. So again, I'm talking about business models, 3 of them, but I spoke about the e-commerce one, which is the pen example. Then I spoke about finding a product and cutting the price by half, and then making a business model out of that. And the third one is about similar to what Uber and Airbnb is doing. Okay, that means you can get into businesses that you don't need much infrastructure that you need to own. So you might wonder, oh, how am I going to create an Uber, or like what kind of marketing do you need? I mean, there's already there are established players. So there are so many thoughts that will come to your mind to block you from thinking this way. You might think you're too small to build an Uber. You're too small to build an Airbnb kind of thing. I'll tell you one thing we did very recently with minimum money. So we started an Uber restaurant. These are called back kitchens, called Gruhanis. What we do is we found housewives. There are, we all have an auntie or a friend who is a great cook, right? And that auntie cooks, everybody's like, oh, she has the best, the chutney or the best, the biryani or anything like that. We understand that they're a good cook. So we went through people like that and asked them, okay, let's say you're a housewife, you have a family of 4, you are cooking anyway, every day, and you're cooking for 4 people. So we asked, can you cook for another 5? That means just can you make 10? We are cooking for 4 people. Can you make 10? The extra 6 we will buy from you, guaranteed. Okay. So we collected about, let's say, 20, 30 of these gruhanis, we call them. And we have a van in the morning that goes around, picks up these lunch packets, comes back to a hub, and then they would list it on Uber Eats. And if you go to this Gruhani's restaurant on Uber Eats, what you're going to see is not a chicken or beef or fried rice, nothing like that. You're going to see Gayani, you're going to see Anuradha, you're going to be Kalani. Like, you have names of the Gruhani. And when you click on that, because, you in Uber Eats, you can go and rename your menu to be anything. You can call it, apples and oranges. They don't care. So we renamed the whole menu structure to the name of the Gruhani. And once you go in there, you see her lunches and you order from it and we use Uber Eats to deliver. So this whole company is only 2 employees. The delivery driver who picks up this and the coordinator who does the Uber, the order taking. And there's one location, small location that we got in Central Colombo. And then this is already a business that is doing about $300, $400 now a day. So all it took was an idea. So basically we've done an Uber in Uber for this kind of a business. So again, 3 business models that I explained to you. The first one was the simple e-commerce one, which you can do. Second one is cutting the price by half. And the third one is about using an existing ecosystem or building ecosystems on top of other ecosystems like Uber Eats. Can talk more about this in the questions. If you have questions, just write it down. So then when we go to the question session, you have it ready to go. Last bit is about, so how do you market this? Now, let's say that e-commerce idea about the pen. Let's say about the Gruhani's idea that I said, yeah, you can do it and build it, but how do you go and talk about it with the minimum amount of money? See, 10 years back, if you had to market something, you had to go to radio, you had to go to billboards, you had to do all these things, but you don't know what is working and what is not working. Especially even today, if you run a radio ad, you're going to hear it because you're listening to it, but your sales may go up a little bit, but you don't know exactly how much extra sales you got because you ran a campaign. You can't match it 1-to-1. But when you're doing digital marketing, such as FB, etc., from TikTok to all these, you can shut down your campaigns when it's not working. You can adjust budgets. So even at $10, you can do a whole lot more than it is possible those days for thousands of dollars. But a common mistake that I see entrepreneurs do is I see them spending money on Facebook, Instagram, especially just to get reactions, but not to get orders. So if you have a post and you have, let's say, 10,000 reactions, you feel like, wow, I made a noise about this product, but you will see only 10 sales. So what's the problem there? The problem is that we have to be native to the platform that we're advertising on. What do I mean by that? Now, it's like, you don't go to, if you take Facebook, it's a social place, right? It's like a coffee shop. It's a social place. People go there to gossip and, read about other people's affairs and things like that. So in that kind of a setup, you're not looking for ads at all. It's almost like if you and I are having a coffee and some guy jumps in the middle and shows, hey, right? So it's like, no, let us be. So you kind of swipe up and you are not attuned to those ads. right? I know Facebook does a good job of matching things that interest you, but still you are not looking for ads, so therefore you're on. So the kind of advertising you need to do on platforms like Facebook should be native to the social the socialness of that platform. So that's why you are going to see, like, Kapruka is doing a lot of non-product based campaigns, right, on these platforms. You will never see product-based campaigns on Kapruka. So let's take another example where Google. Okay? But if you look, you're searching for a Samsung Galaxy S24. And then you actually get a product listing of Samsung Galaxy S24. Okay. Then you are looking for it and you were served it, and you obviously the transaction. So my point is, I think if you feel like you're going to spend a lot of money on the platforms like TikTok, social media, and FB, they are better spent actually on Google, where people are actually searching for your product. But it's a different art altogether. But you have total control over it. You can, try it for a few days, stop it, and try another thing, and keep changing around. I mean, this is a huge subject if you talk about social media marketing. But at the same time, it's you have to be always very creative when it comes to these platforms. I'm going to quickly show you something that we just did today. Sorry, a second. Yeah, you can see this. I mean, this is a simple post that our team just did today. These are now, this is not bothering you because it is very relevant to what everybody's talking about these days, right? And you have a product and it's not bothering me. These are not like some Galaxy S21 phone coming up in here where I just scroll up, right? So it's be native to the platform that you are working on. And especially your platforms like LinkedIn, where you feel like that is not a platform where you can actually sell e-commerce products. You'll be surprised about how much of marketing we've done on B2B side of e-commerce to get that going. So before I end, let me talk about the opportunities in this digital marketplace that any of you today can think about starting. One is don't think that Sri Lanka's market is too small. Okay. Don't think that, I mean, if you take a country like even South Korea, where do you think Samsung is coming from? Samsung is born and the head office is in South Korea because it's a South Korean company. See what a major product they've built, a major brand they've built where it's all over the world as a flagship. Okay. So Sri Lanka is like the same size. You can do a lot in a small pond and become a big fish. I don't think I will be successful if I do anything like Kapruka in the US or any other developed market, because there'll be so much more competition with me from day one. But I didn't have that kind of competition in Sri Lanka, so I was able to build this. So take advantage of the size of the country. If you think that you are out of ideas, if you think that then that's everything, somebody has done it, you don't have to look for original ideas. Okay, you can always pick an existing idea and improve it a little bit and build a new business out of it. I mean, even in Sri Lanka, let's say there's Uber and there's also PickMe, right? It's the same thing, but they managed to localize it and build on top of it. It's not a copy; it is a small improvement or a localization. So there are a lot of ideas out there where Sri Lanka has not still has space to do. For example, let's say, have you guys heard of Carfax.com? So Carfax is you can do the same thing in Sri Lanka. I don't see anybody else doing it, where you put in an old car. Before you buy a car, you put the car's VIN number. Every car has a serial number, and this database will show you how many old records it has about this car. So normally a car purchase is it's a big purchase for anybody, right? So they would pay $10 and get this report from this database, before they go and buy a used car. Some of these reports are just oil changes and public records, right? And then we had an accident and an XYZ kind of a thing. But they source public records about vehicles and put it in a database and sell it. So you can do the same thing here in Sri Lanka. Nobody has done it yet. And I'll tell you another simple thing we started recently called Double Bubble. It's a simply two guys come to your house and wash your car for 400 rupees. So our model was that, okay, there are apartments that a lot of people find it hard to wash their cars. So this has no apps, nothing. This is entirely on WhatsApp, one simple phone number, and the WhatsApp guys coordinate and get the orders. And two riders go and wash the car, and about 80% of the revenue goes directly to the riders. It's a self-employment model that we built. It's not rocket science. I mean, there is no huge technology behind it or anything like that, and it's immediately profitable. So I just give you two examples. I mean, I can talk about dozens of them all day, but there are a lot of things that you guys can start today and then build upon on. So with that, I'll end my quick talk. And if there are any questions, we have more time to take them. Thank you. Over to you, host.
We now open the floor for a Q&A session. You are welcome to unmute yourself and ask your questions. And if there are any questions, you can also put it in chat as well.
If you say that, everybody's going to start chatting. I think, anyways, sometimes the most ridiculous questions are the best questions. Some of there's nothing called dumb questions. Some of them are I remember some of these silly questions have actually turned into companies.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, I'm Rekha. Thanks, IEEE, for this session. It's really nice. Dulith, I would like to ask you one question. It's about the charismatic leadership. I think part of this is going to talk about leadership. So, I feel like you are a really charismatic leader as entrepreneur. So can you talk about a little bit that part of you as a charismatic leader, in the sense, like, it's so nice to hear about that the community initiation that you have taken for the Guhani. So can you talk about a little bit of the leadership skills that you have go through and earn all throughout your entrepreneurship?
Sure. Thanks for the question. So, leadership is very personal, and there are two types of leaders, I believe. So there are leaders who kind of pretend and have a mask over them. So they're really something else, but they try to be nice to people. They try to sound like they care about the employees. But in reality, if you don't really care, it starts to show over time. I know I know quite a bit of entrepreneurs who are my buddies, but I know personally that when they do a hey, good job, man, kind of a pat on the back of an employee, it's more like, look, I think I'm happy that you work hard for me. It's not really like I appreciate what you do. So I think in my case, I have always tried to be very, very authentic as much as possible. I'm also human, so I'm sure I have my weak points too all the time, but I try to be real as possible. So, and my style is, if I had to define it in one word, I try to be a friend to them. So when even it could be a driver, it could be a CEO of one of my companies who comes and talks to me, I'm a buddy to them. And just sit down and, chill and talk to them like we are at a coffee shop meeting a friend. And that immediately puts them at ease. And that also immediately makes them, free to make mistakes, free to be themselves. So the bottom line, what I'm trying to say is be a friend. So that's my leadership style. Thank you. Any more questions, guys?
So, hi, I'm learning Kapruka and your other business ventures. I'm wondering what the biggest challenge you faced is. And I know there'll be multiple challenges throughout. Was there any particular challenge that stood out, maybe particularly in the beginning or even later on in your journey that you had to overcome?
Of course. I mean, I think any successful entrepreneur, if they don't have the scars at the back and the arrows, everything, then something is wrong. There has to be challenges. Like, I mean, you all know that what I went through, right? When the whole country was laughing at me during the COVID issue, when we had that pricing issue in Kapruka, I really thought that was the end of everything that I built. And but that's when I also realized, look, if Kapruka was here at that point, I'm going to bring it here and show. So I really brought a lot of courage into me. That's when I decided, look, I'm going to list this company on the stock exchange and show the whole country that this is a successful organization. Until then, I didn't have any ambition of actually listing Kapruka. So in hindsight, these problems sometimes give you giant courage to do even bigger things, right? I mean, this happens to leaders. I've seen, even if you take even Donald Trump, right? I mean, he's shooting. What happened to him there actually probably gave him more courage now to run the president. So when these bad things happen to you, look at it. You might be able to turn its negative energy into positive, giant energy. So that's one example. I think the second challenge I think I had is that when I feel like I should have done these export businesses, which I told about, Dilma, etc., much earlier. I've only started 3 years ago, and it has grown into a huge potential. But I wish I was able to find the capital money earlier, so I could have started it much earlier. I didn't have it because I was very adamant about no borrowings, don't take loans. Let's use our own profits to keep building this. So that has worked for me for Java Launch and several other companies that I've done. But I wish I had more capital back then. So those are the two that comes to my mind. Others are not that significant.
Okay, so I do have another question. So are there any organizations that or resources that provide guidance and support for individuals that are new to startups, like how to start them?
Yeah, so I think you should not look for local resources. YouTube itself is a huge resource. YouTube is probably the go-to place. And then also start following startups in our region. So if has any of you here look for Bangladesh top 100 startups? Pakistan, Nepal, Bhutan, even Maldives. But and these are markets that are around us. The people's thinking is the same. Challenges are kind of same. The spending powers are the kind of same. And you might be able to find some amazing startup ideas in the region and say, shall we try this here? And then to your question about, okay, how does it being guided? There are incubators in Sri Lanka. So one is, there's Hatch. Must have heard about it. And then there are other small startup incubators, including Trace. Now, Trace is something government kind of backed location where you get free office space, free guidance, free legal advice, free company registration, that kind of thing. I don't think those should be your main focus But you have to find the idea, right? Like this Gruhanist example I just gave you. You have to find the idea, execute it, get about 5 or 10 orders, find an investor to maybe give you the seed money. I didn't need it because I built it over a long time and there was no competition, right? Today, if you try to do what I did, you will not make it because so much of competition is there. So you need the money. So you might need an investor, but don't ever bring an investor in before you have proven the idea to yourself and started getting about 5 or 10 orders. So do a pilot and then get the investment and keep growing. So again, YouTube. Second, look at the region. Don't go to the US and these developed markets. Some of those ideas won't work here. And then third is do a small pilot and then get the investment in and get going. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Dulith Herath, for that inspiring and thought-provoking session. Your insights have truly enriched all of us, and your journey as a serial entrepreneur continues to inspire the generations of dreamers, doers, and innovators. And as a token of our gratitude, we would now like to present Mr. Dulith Herath with an online token of appreciation.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you once again, Mr. Herath, for your time and for gracing our event with your presence. We hope this small token reflects how much your contribution is valued and appreciated. Now, we will be sharing an anonymous feedback form. If you could please fill it, since your feedback is valued and we would appreciate your thoughts on today's event. We would be giving around 30 seconds, so please fill it quickly.
In the meantime, if any of you need assistance on your idea, reachable on Twitter. That's the easiest way to get through to me. And also on LinkedIn, but Twitter works better for me. So don't hesitate to ask for help.
Now, I'd like to call upon the Vice Chair of Public Visibility for Let's Talk, Sanduni, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Tevnu. Good evening, everyone. What a truly inspiring session this has been. Before we wrap up, I would like to take a moment to express my deepest gratitude to those who made today possible. First of all, and foremost, a heartfelt thank you to our esteemed speaker, Mr. Dulith Herath, the visionary founder and the chairman of Sri Lanka's largest e-commerce platform, Kapruka.com. Mr. Dulith Herath, your leadership journey has been nothing short of extraordinary, and we are incredibly grateful for the valuable insights you have shared with us today. Your story of strength, innovation, and commitment to excellence will inspire each of us to pursue our goals with greater determination and purpose. Thank you for taking the time to be with us and for your candid wisdom. So all the participants who joined us today, thank you for your presence and your engagement. Your enthusiasm fuels the energy of events like this, and we are glad to have such a supportive community. And a special thanks to our technical partner, the IEEE student branch of SLTC, for your invaluable assistance in making this event run smoothly. Your technical expertise ensured that everything went seamlessly. And also, I would like to express my deep appreciation to all the members of Let's Talk organizing committee. Your hard work and dedication behind the scenes brought this event to life, and I thank each of you for your efforts in making today a success. As we look forward, I'm excited to announce that we will be continuing this journey of learning and inspiration next month when we meet yet another exceptional leader who will share their unique story of leadership and growth. Until then, thank you once again to everyone, and I hope today's session has left you as inspired and motivated. Have a wonderful day and see you all next month. Thank you.